Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Albin Jose. I am here today with new updates with regards to Adam, and this is going to help you understand how we will be creating Adam datasets. There are certain parameters which we have to consider to create the analysis columns or variables, and that is found in Adam IG. Now let's understand about Adam and the changes which was brought in Adam's new version. So today we'll be first focusing on the fundamentals of Adam. Then we will understand about the changes which is made in Adam version 1.2. We'll also go through the two major changes in detail, that is stratification variables in ADSL and bidirectional toxicity variables in PDS. There are also other changes which were made. So we'll go through it also. And in the end, we'll also see how we can create the ADSL domains. Now let's understand about the fundamentals of Adam. The Adam IG contains mainly three fundamentals. That is, the first one is the fundamental principles. I have added some of the principles to this slide. The first one, we must create the Adam datasets in such a way that it should be usable ready. Secondly, the dataset must associate with the metadata so that it helps in the traceability and facilitate clear and unambiguous communication. Now, when I say about traceability, it is the connection between the Adam domains and the metadata. That is, we are able to trace back from the Adam domain to metadata domains. That how we are creating the different variables. And finally, it should have a data structure and content that makes easy for the programmers to write less codes and perform more statistical calculation. Next comes with the fundamental part of traceability. It is only not only with the tracing back of Adam domains to metadata, but it is also speaking about the relationship between the STDM datasets and the Adam datasets. Because whenever we are going to submit the reports and the datasets, we will be submitting both the SDTM and the Adam datasets to the regulatory authorities. And always remember that C dash is synchronized with the SDTM and therefore it contains ensuring end-to-end traceability. Now, traceability establishes in two ways, which is across the data relationship and within the data relationship. For example, the metadata consists of supportive variables to create the Adam dataset. It facilitates to understand of how and why the derived records are created. Now, there are two levels of traceability. The first one is the metadata traceability. It helps in understanding of the relationship of analysis variable to its source datasets and its variable. Second, we have the data point traceability. It points out directly to the specific predecessor records and it should be implemented if practical and feasible. Now, it may not be always be practical or feasible to provide the data point traceability via record identifier variables from the source dataset. But however, metadata traceability always clearly explain how an analysis variable was populated regardless of whether the data point traceability is also provided. Now, the next fundamental is the data structures. A fundamental principle of the Adam datasets is clear communication, given that the Adam dataset contains both source and the derived data. The main issue becomes about the communication is how the variables and the observations were derived and how the observations are used to process the analysis result. The user of an Adam dataset must be able to identify clear and the data inputs and the algorithms used to create the derived information. So if this information is communicated in a predictable manner through the use of standard data structure and metadata, the user of Adam dataset should be able to understand how the Adam dataset should be replicating the results and how it will be able to explore the alternative analysis. Now, a predictable structure has another advantages too, in addition to supporting the clear communication. First, A predictable structure eases the burden of the management of data metadata because there is less variability in the types of observations and variables that are included. Second, the software tools can be developed to support the metadata management and data review. It includes tools or programs to restructure the data. That is, I can manipulate or transpose the data based on the known key variables. And the last one, a predictive structure always has a metadata to be checked for the conformance with the Adam structures using a set known conventions that can be verified. Now let's understand about the Adam hygiene. The document describes about two data structures. That is, we have one, the subject level analysis data, that is ADSL, and the other one, we have the basic data structure, that is BDS. Now, the ADSL dataset contains one record per subject. So, it includes variables like subject level population flags. We have planned and actual treatments variables for each period. We have demographic information. We have stratification and subgrouping variables. And also, they include some important dates too. But these are not only the variables which are there are more to it also, and we can always cross check that from the Adam IG. Hence, the ADSL contains the required variables plus the other subject level variables that are important in describing a subject's experience in the trial. Now, a BDS dataset contains one or more records per subject, per analysis parameter, and per analysis time point. In some situation where there is no analysis time point, the structure should capture one or more records per subject and also per analysis parameter. The BDS structure contains a central set of variables that represents the actual data being analyzed. Now it supports both parametric and non-parametric analysis also. Like we have analysis of variance, we say it as ANOVA, right? We have analysis of covariance, we have categorical analysis, we have logistic regression, we have coherent mental Hensel test, we have Wilcoxon rank sum test, and also it includes time to event analysis too. Now there are some of the analysis which we cannot find it in the basics data structure, that is the BDS. So those analysis will be found in occurrence data structure. And for the occurrence data structure, there is another set of implementation guide for it. Now, this Adam implementation guide has been available in the industry since 2009, and it has been providing a standardized way to communicate and analyze the study data. There are different changes being made while the version 1.1 was released. Now today we will be discussing about the changes which we can find in version 1.2. And these are the three core changes made while the Adam team proposed to update the Adam IG. We have addition of standard nomenclature for stratification variables within ADSL. We have guidance for bidirectional toxicity grades, and also we have clarification of issues raised on the previous version. Now let's go in detail about the different changes being made. The first one, we have the stratification of variables in ADSL domain. Before getting deeper, let's first understand what is stratified randomization. Now, it is similar to the statistical term stratified sampling. Now, what do we do in stratified sampling? It is a type of sampling method where the researcher divides the population into separate groups, which is called as strata. Then, a probability sample is drawn from each group. That is, when they will be taking the best probable sample from each group, and hence it will be possible to increase the precision with the same sample size. However, the stratified randomization is used to ensure the balance of the treatment assignments across one or more prognostic factors, or I can say it as predictive factors. Now, these predictive factors can be an aspect of the disease or a characteristics of the subject that may influence the treatment response. Now, let me make it simpler by giving you an example. Suppose there are two groups, that is one which I have less than 50 and the other one which I have greater than and equal to 50. And also we have male and female as gender. Now these are the predictive factors which are age and gender. Now when a subject is eligible for randomization, the individual values of these factors are determined at the site. So it is used as an input to randomized process to determine the treatment assignments. Now there can be a situation where the value of a factor used for the randomization is later discovered to be an error. Like say suppose a subject was randomized according to the age group of less than 50 and male. Later it was discovered that the subject was actually 54. So therefore it has been to be randomized according to the age of greater than equal to 50 and male, right? Now suppose if this situation happens too often and the balance in the treatment assignments across these factors isn't doubtful, right? So it may be the result in the use of sensitivity analysis. Therefore, this is an analysis need to have two sets of values to describe the stratification factors. Now in the Adam IG, these two set of values are referred to as randomized values and verified values. So the verified values are derived using the source documentation. At present, there is no standard method for presenting the randomized strata factors and the values which is in SDTM based dataset. Depending on the randomization process, it may be unnecessary to represent the variables and the values specified to the stratification in STTM based dataset. That is where the Adam set datasets will play an important role. Now you can see on the left hand side we have some variable which helps in stratification. Now what are these variables? We have strata R, right? Now this variable identifies the strata used for stratification. We have strata V, it identifies the strata from verification code. Now the next four variables, we can see the letter W which is in italics and small scales, right? Now what does this W denote? The lowercase w in a variable name is the index for the variable where W is replaced with a single digit from 1 to 10. Hence, each variable will be with the number index which will represent something. Now continuing with it, strata WD, it identifies the description of the stratification factor. We have strata WR which identifies the strata factor of Wth value used for the randomization. We have strat WV which identifies the strata factor of Wth value from the verification source. Now these three variables which I have explained are in character format. So I need to have the numeric format also for these two. So I have added one of the example, that is strata WRN. So it is the numeric format of strata WR. So it will be as a numeric representation of strata factor of WS value used for the randomization. Now let's see how we are going to create Adam domains. So I will be using mainly macros. We will be combining the STTM domains and creating the Adam domains. While creating the different Adam datasets, we'll also create the different analysis columns. We'll be also abiding by the CBIS standards that is to be sent to the regulatory authorities. Now let's see it in SAS Studio. Now you can see here in this, that is I am going to write the codes in the same way in the code tab, and this is the SAS Studio interface. Now in here I am going to use mostly the macros. So in the beginning I'll be including one of the file where it creates the libraries and uses certain macros which are to create different formats, length, and these macros which will be used in it. So the first macro, it will help me to create the empty structure for the ADSL domain, and then the second macro will help me to merge or to join the different tables which we are using. That is, we have DM, we have sub DM, so those all tables or the domains will be joined in together. And this is nothing but I will be adding, or I will be looking into the change from the baseline. Now remember, always baseline is something which can be set as a benchmark. Okay, we'll be explaining in more detail in the next slides also about baseline, so you'll get an understanding about it. Then I am going to use the data step. So in the data step, I will be creating the ADSL domain, and I will be joining the values from the other domains and adding it into the empty structure of the ADSL. So I will be creating here the different analysis variables which are required. So here you can see I have some of the flags which I have added. So I have safety flags, I have respondents flags. Okay. Then I have added few more analysis also. Now in DM domain, remember I have only as age and age units. So I don't have age group. So in this ADSL, I will be creating the age group here. So I have the age group in numeric, that is why it is as age gr1n, and then I have age group, so that will be in the character format. Then I have the different treatment plans. So one, I have the planned treatment which was decided in the beginning of the study, and the next I have the actual treatment which has been implemented during the study. So when the patient was injected with what drug, that will be in the actual plan, actual treatment. Okay, and these are nothing but it is being represented in the numeric format, that is of the planned treatment and the actual treatment. So once this is done, I will have some variables extra which I have joined in with the other domains. So I will, with this help of macro and the proc step, I will be removing those extra variables which is required. So let's execute it and see what is the final output. Now here, these are the different formats which you can see which is used for the atom. Now in the final output, that is, we have stored it in a specific location named as target, and here you can see the different 24 columns with all the 60 values which we had required. Now let's go and dig into the analysis variables which we have created. Now here you can see the age group 1. So you can see that I have divided into two age group, that is one which is less than 55 and the other one which is greater than equal to 55, and the numeric form of each group, that is 1 and 2. So it goes for all the values. The next one, I have the planned treatment and the actual treatment. Now, most of the time, the planned treatment and the actual treatment will not have any changes, but sometime it might occur. So that is why we have to mention these accordingly. And based on these planned treatment and the actual treatment, we have the values in the numeric format. So you have understood how we are creating the ADSL, right? Now let's get back and let's understand about the different other changes which we are going to change, that is the BDS toxicity variables. Now suppose, like, what does the bidirectional mean here? Now here when I speak about bidirection, it is nothing but it has a two directional purpose. So there are some variables that support the analysis of the parameters for which the toxicity is defined in two directions. Now let's understand this with an example. Suppose the sponsor decided to include the grade in these four variables. So I can see these four variables here on the right hand side. On the left hand side, I have A tox, right, GR, and then I have L. That is nothing but analysis toxicity grade low. Then I have B tox, GR, and L. That is nothing but baseline toxicity grade low. So same way I have analysis toxicity for high and I have the baseline toxicity grade for low. Now what are the other two rest of this? Now here it is nothing but the description. So analysis toxicity description of low and analysis toxicity description of high. Now these are the different 6 variables which I am going to add. Now here I have took two patients to understand the things much easier, and also I have only took two tests. Now for one patient according to the disease, the medical investigators might prescribe more number of tests, one or more number of tests. So here I have used only two tests, that is hemoglobin test and AST test. AST is nothing but aspirate aminotransferase test. That is one of the enzyme to identify it. So, if the patient is suffering from anemia, that is, the red blood cells are decreasing, that is why the term is mentioned in ATOX DSCL. Why? Because it is going low. Then, based on the toxicity level, the grades will be assigned. So, I have described it in ATOX low, so that will be mentioned in ATOX grade low and BTOX grade low. So you can see here, based on this, these grades will be assigned in these two variables. Now when I speak about baseline, that is baseline toxicity grade, so baseline is nothing but it will be according to the first visit. Now you can see here in the first visit the grade 3 is been occurring the same way. Same way you can see for the patient 1 the BTOX high grade, that is 0, grade 0, it is similar to the first visit and it is reoccurring into the second visit and the third visit. Same way for the patient 2, grade 2 has been reoccurring for that in the consecutive visits. Now, what happens if the hemoglobin is increasing? So, if the hemoglobin is increasing, it will be described in ATOX DSC high as hemoglobin increase, and then it will be mentioned in ATOX GR high and BTOX GR high for the first visit, and consecutively when the patient comes for the second visit and the third visit. Now, same way for the patient 2, we can see that the aspirate AST test has increased. So it was mentioned in ATOX DSC high, and same way the grades were mentioned in ATOX GR high and BTOX GR high. Now, here we are able to understand how the values are being assigned. Now, the question comes into the mind, what is the bidirectional aspect that we are finding from here? Actually, if we check in the each patient, so if we check in the patient 1, I would be able to understand the shift of the toxicity level in each visit. That is the shift from the baseline to the analysis one. So hence I can conclude that in the visit 1 for the second visit for the patient 1, there is a downward shift from grade 3 to grade 0, and in the patient 2 I can see two shift, that is in the second visit I can see the toxicity level shifted from grade 2 to grade 1, and then in the third visit the toxicity level shifted from grade 2 to grade 3. Now this is how the bidirectional toxicity variable in the PDS work. Now apart from these two major changes, there are six more changes which have been made. Now these are the six changes which are made in the final result of version 1.2. The parameter qualifying variables is removed. Now in the ADAM IG that went through the public review, the parameter qualification variable was added as a new variable. The ADAM team had determined for the further development of this concept, and they wanted to be it done. So therefore this concept was not being available for the release. So as per the prior releases, there are no qualifiers for the parameter. Now, there are also some other changes which are made in ADSL timing variables also. The set of timing variables include all start and end dates within each phase. Now, period and sub-period. So, it is for phase, period and sub-period. The set of the phase timing variables is depending on the period and the sub-period, while the sub-period is depending on the period timing variables. Now, each set of the timing variables may be defined at the subject level or the dataset level. So, if the set is defined at the subject level, then the dataset level assignment must be consistent with the subject level. For example, when the period timing variables would not be allowed in ADSL, it would be where the periods are defined as the same, that is across all the dataset except for the adverse event. Now, in the adverse event, the last period start date is the same, but the end date it extends over all the observations up to 30 days after the dosage also. So while these other data sets and the end dates are of the last treatment, in this case the separate timing variables are needed, that is to be defined it into the dataset level. Now always remember the sub-period timing variables may only be included in ADS if the period timing variables are included. The same rule would apply for the sub-period as well. So if the period timing variables remain consistent but the sub-periods do not, the ADSL would contain the period timing variables but the sub-period timing variables will not have these variables. Now these are the different changes also being made in the BDS indicator flags, that is with regards to the control terminologies. In the previous ADAM IG, the control terminologies of these flags was only Y for character and 1 for numeric. Now the terminologies for these variables has been extended and it has also allowed either Y or we can have Y slash N values. Now what is the use of Y slash N? It will be applied when there is a null or n values treated to be differently in the analysis. There is also the different change made in the parameter type variable and it has been criticized whether it should be used or not. So as promised in the Adam IG version 1.1, the parameter type has been disapproved in the Adam IG version 1.2. The Adam sub-team feels that there was a considerable amount of confusion regarding the differences between D-type and the parent type. That is, D-type is nothing but the derived type and parent type is nothing but the parameter type. Since the information regarding the variable derivations is contained in the metadata and there was really no need for explicitly flagging the derived variable or the derived parameters with a separate variable. So that is why they were having the possible values which were derived or null. But the parameter type will can be used if it is required for the analysis needs. Not only with these changes, that is BDS indicator regarding with the parameter type, with regarding with the removal of parameter qualification values and also the ADS timing variables. There are two more changes also being done. That is one with the base type. Now in Adam version IG 1.1, it indicated that base type, if it was used for any parameter within the data set, it should be non-null values for all the records of the data set. So, however, if it is often the case where the base type is only defined for some of the parameters within a data set, then we can omit it. That is, as a result, there should be the base type with all the parameter values, but it should not have any non-null values for the records. And the last one, that is nothing but the preparatory partial ADSL concept. That is, I will be creating a subset of ADSL before creating a analysis data, that is ADSL dataset. Now here there are some cases where the derived derivations of some variables in the ADSL are extremely complex, or I have to rely and I have to derive the values which are not available in the SGTM dataset. So in such cases, it might be helpful to create an intermediate dataset on the way to complete the ADSL dataset, which will contain only a partial set of the variables. That is, I will only require to create some of the variables which are required to completely create as a new variables. So this will be followed by adding the process to derive the required additional variables and a final step wherein I will be merging the values and the variables back into the ADSL. So since pre-ADSL is a subset of ADSL, it is upon the sponsor's decision whether to include the pre-ADSL when we are submitting the reports and the data sets to the regulatory authorities. Finally, the Adam implementation guide has always provided industries with a standardized way to communicate and analyze the data. And today we were able to understand the updates which the Adam team had proposed with the release of Adam IG version 1.2. And with these updates, the SaaS programmers will be able to implement the Adam standards more efficiently. With this, I would like to end the webinar, and I really appreciate your precious time and participation. Looking forward to meet once I am looking forward to meet you all once again in the next webinar with lots of interesting facts and information for your career. Once again, thank you all and my best wishes.